5 Tuesdays in May, 5 bonus videos for Patreon, including a musical autopsy of Motorhead, plus nearly 120 other bonus doses to catch up on. Support the habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. The fun thing about being an expert on something is that everyone always wants to know your opinion when someone goes viral for doing that something horribly. For example, many of you know that I was a competitive axe thrower. I'm taking some time off from that right now, but when that video went viral of that dizzy bitch nearly Marie Antoinetting herself while dollar store Martin Shkreli looked on, so many people went, "Buckley, did you see this? What did you think of that? What'd she do wrong?" And I don't think it takes an expert to tell you, she done fucked up is what she did wrong. But the better answer is, she didn't respect what she was doing, and she almost got hurt. Respect. That word will come up again a bit later. Anyway, another thing I know a thing or two about is boxing. I started training in 1998, fought 14 times between 1999 and 2004, then coached off and on for the last 18 years. Just went to a show the other day. Our guy won. Anyway, no one of course gives a shit what I think about real boxing. They always want to know what I think about bullshit boxing. Did you think Mayweather knocked out Logan Paul and then held him up? Yeah, I think a 150-pound man held up the dead weight of a 200-pound man in the middle of a fight and Weekend at Bernie's him until he woke up. Jesus. Did you hear Tyron Woodley had a no-knockout clause in his contract and that's why he didn't finish Jake in their first fight? Yeah, it was from Dylan Dennis, the least trustworthy person in mixed martial arts, a loudmouth troll who claims that Tyron had signed a non-disclosure agreement, but then told Dylan Dennis, broke a contract for a moron who gets into bar fights and was recently banned from attending UFC events. Did you hear the Mountain from Game of Thrones fought another strongman? Yeah, I watched it. It was a disgrace. And 2 minutes into this video, getting to the point, did you hear that iDubbbz is doing a boxing event? Yes, iDubbbz. The guy a bunch of people called a simp and a cuck a couple of years back because his girlfriend, now wife, started doing OnlyFans. All the guys that said that absolutely think that waitresses are flirting with them, by the way. That's actually all I know about the guy. Until very recently, I've never actually watched one of his videos. My understanding is that he gets into verbal fights with other YouTubers or something. And so, I guess, this is the natural progression. iDubbbz is putting together the Creator Clash, a boxing show that will be happening May 14th, 2022. It's next weekend if you're watching this when I uploaded it. Featuring 9 fights, including iDubbbz himself, taking on a fella by the name of Dr. Mike, Epic Mealtime's Harley Morenstein, mixing it up with Game Grump's Ego Raptor, and 7 other fights. I don't know who any of these people are, but I believe every single one of them has more subscribers than me, and I just don't know who's popular on this dumb platform. Now, how's this going to be different from all the other stupid bullshit like the Battle of the Platforms YouTube versus TikTok show that apparently lost $10 million and no one got paid? Well, 2 things. 1, the price. They're only charging $25 for this as opposed to the $50 they were trying to get for tickets to watch Austin McBroom and Bryce Hall. These names mean absolutely nothing to me. Cue the Skinner meme of, am I this old and out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong. And 2, their intent, which is to show respect to boxing. This word, respect, it's plastered all over this thing. iDubbbz says it a bunch of times in a video he titled, Why I Hate Influencer Boxing, uploaded a few weeks back to promote his influencer boxing show. And then there's this statement from the Creator Clash website. These creators want to show respect to boxing while putting on an entertaining show that reflects their personalities, said iDubbbz. It was really important to us that the creators took this experience seriously, and let me tell you, they absolutely have. They have been training for months, and we can't wait to show you what they can bring to the table. Influencer boxing has previously been very money-driven, and our goal is to bring attention back to the sport while delivering fun and interesting personalities for an all-around great show for some great causes. But here's the thing. By doing this, you're not showing respect to boxing. Listen, I'm glad you're doing this for charity. Apparently, it's for the American Heart Association and other charities to be named. But there's a reason you chose boxing. I've talked about this before, because it's as fun, or maybe even more fun, to watch people who are bad at it do it. If you picked tennis, or golf, or bowling, or gymnastics, or some other individual sport like that, watching people suck at those sports is not fun to watch. But with boxing, it's arguably more fun to watch people who suck at it, especially when you know there are people that hate some of these people, rationally or irrationally. iDubbbz has to know that people are going to tune in to see him get tuned up. Oh man, I hope that cuck gets beat down in front of his wife and she starts crying. In fact, you're counting on those people buying tickets. iDubbbz has made this big deal out of the fact that they're all training for this, that they got the YouTubers professional trainers, and some of them have had to spend less time making videos because they're working so hard training. Oh man. They're still fucking tourists to the sport. Oh, you went away for 3, 4, 6 months to train, which you could easily do because 90% of these people are independently wealthy? You know who doesn't get that luxury? Amateur boxers, the athletes who do this for no money, who fight 6, 7, 10 times a year, 3 times in one weekend for tournaments, who are trying to become Golden Gloves champs, national champs, world champions, Olympic champions, for a sport with very little funding from any government organizations. The fighters at that level often have full-time jobs and train like 6 to 8 hours a day. Get up and go for a 5 or 10K run, eat, go to work, come home, eat, work out again, go to bed, do it all over again the next day and the next day and the fucking next day. Hell, even pros who are just starting out do something similar. It's a long time before you earn enough money that you could afford to box for a living. And you're like, oh, but we're respecting the sport by training for it for a few months. No, you're not. And I don't even know who that's a dig at. The Paul brothers? They trained. Of course they did. Look at their bodies. They literally have nothing else to do. Maybe it's a dig at that Battle of the Platforms show. Maybe it's a dig at the reality stars ones that they've had recently, like when the rejects from Big Brother USA fought the rejects from Big Brother Canada, or Aaron Carter versus Lamar Odom. But anyway, training for one fight isn't respecting the sport. Maybe it is more so than some of that bullshit, but then I like how, in his video, he talks about it being a serious sport where people die, and then sells a hoodie that says, "Influencers will perish," with blood-covered gloves for $65. Yeah, very respectful. Now, let me make it very clear. This will be the part in the comments section where we find out if everyone's watched all the way through. I don't give a fuck that they're disrespecting boxing. The sport of boxing has about as much respect left as Amber Heard at a speed dating event. After celebrity boxing on Fox in the 90s when Screech fought Horshack and Joey Buttafuoco fought China. The Tough Man competitions where fat fuck factory workers all slap at each other for malt liquor coupons or whatever the fuck they give out as prizes. When WWF had a boxing tournament that showed how bad their wrestlers were at unscripted fighting. The fact that the sport has been heavily fixed since who knows when. Maybe forever. Maybe since the first 2 Irishmen fought each other bare knuckles for 26 rounds in the 1700s or whatever. Or even the fact that every big name you know, their opponents were hand-picked for their first dozen or so fights, and then they also argue every time they have a title match about who they should or shouldn't have to fight. Professional boxing, in general, is disrespectful to the actual sport of boxing. So I don't care that you're disrespecting the sport, but don't pretend that you are respecting it. The best way to respect the sport for someone who has no intention of actually becoming a fighter would be to not do it at all. Because as I said, you are just tourists. You're just taking a longer vacation than the rest of these tourists to the sport of boxing. Once you're done, you'll never do it again, and you're gonna go, I was a boxer. And you weren't. I was a boxer. You are a dancing clown cosplaying as someone getting punched with gloves on. With all due respect, of course.